everyone. Now we are going to discuss about one of the important and widely acknowledged theory of development, that is Schumpeter's theory of economic development. Joseph Alois Schumpeter was an Austrian-American economist and a political scientist. He briefly served as a finance minister of Austria in 1919. One of the most influential economists of the 20th century, Schumpeter popularized the term creative destruction in economics. Let us briefly understand what is the concept called economic development. Economic development is nothing but the wealth of countries or region for the well-being of the inhabitants. Economic growth and development are two different terms used in economics. Generally speaking, economic development refers to the problems of underdeveloped countries and economic growth to those of the developed countries. Schumpeter first presented his theory of economic growth in the Theory of Economic Development, published in German in 1911, which was elaborated and refined but in no way altered in any essential respect in his business cycle approach and the capitalism, socialism and the democracy that is presented in 1942. Schumpeter's model of economic growth is based on a production function, that is the Schumpeter model of economic growth that moves around the inventions and innovations. This model is explained with the following things, that is this model incorporates a process of production and dynamic analysis of the entire economy, and that also shows a cyclical trend of the growth process in the economy, and that also analyzes the inevitable demise of capitalism that is also embedded in this model. Then let us elaborate what is there in the production process of Schumpeter's model. The process of production shows the combination of productive forces which results in the production of goods. These productive forces are composed of materials and immaterial factors. The physical or material factors consist of land, labor and capital, while non-physical or immaterial factors are composed of technical facts and social organizations. Thus, Schumpeter's production function is a functional form, that is total output is a result of the combination of labor, then produced means of production, that is capital, and N, that is natural resources, S, that shows the technical the process or the technical relation between the factors of production, and U represent the social setup of or the social organization. Therefore, the production function of the Schumpeter model is a culmination of various factors like capital, labor, natural resources, even technology, and the entire social structure or the organization that will the ultimate input that leads to the total growth of output in the economy. Schumpeter's model of economic development assumes a perfectly competitive economy which is in stationary equilibrium. That is, he stated that the economy is already in an equilibrium state. Such an stationary state, there is a perfect competitive equilibrium, no change in profit, no interest rate, no saving, no investment, and no involuntary unemployment in such an economy. This equilibrium is characterized by the term circular flow. That is, the economy is always in a equilibrium, that is moving from the through the same characteristics. It is continues to repeat itself every year in a circular flow. The same products are produced every year in the same manner. According to him, economic development is spontaneous and a discontinuous change that forever alter the already existing equilibrium level. That this spontaneous and discontinuous change in the channels of the circular flow that disturbs the already existing equilibrium, which forever alters and displaces the equilibrium state that is previously existing. Therefore, development consists in the carrying out of new combinations of production process for which possibilities exist in the stationary state, and this new combination come about in the form of innovations. And according to Schumpeter, innovation may consist of the introduction of a new product. A new product is launched in the economy. Or innovation may be also consist of the introduction of a new method of production, or opening up of a new market, or the conquering a new source of raw material, or even conquering a new market also come under innovations. The carrying out of a new organization of any industry, like a creation of monopoly, that's also innovation. According to Schumpeter, it is the introduction of a new product and the continual improvement in the existing one that leads to development. Innovation can be exploiting a new market and use or control of a new source of supply of raw materials, or whatever it may be. It can even be the designing of a completely new organization of the firm or a producing unit. Innovations come about mainly through investment in research and development, that is in R&D. Innovations implied that they are continually a process of creative destruction going on in the economy. Schumpeter called this theory of creative destruction a process of industrial mutation of an incessant revolutionary change from within. An example of creative destruction is the evolution of a recorded music from phonograph, vinyl record to audio cassettes, and finally the compact disc, etc. like that. Another classic example is the advances in home computer as well as software. In each new creation has the effect of rendering previous version or vintage obsolete. Yet another example from electronics is the introduction of transistors to replace the vacuum tube. The next important aspect in the Schumpeter's theory of development is the role of innovator, the role of entrepreneur. Schumpeter assigned the role of an innovator not to the capitalist but to the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is not a man of ordinary managerial ability but one who introduces something entirely new. The entrepreneur is motivated by the desire to find a private commercial kingdom, the will to conquer and prove his superiority. That is, the innovator should, or the entrepreneur should have all these kind of characteristics. That is, the joy of creating, of getting things done, or simply of exercising one's energy and ingenuity. To perform his economic condition, the entrepreneur requires two things. The first one is the existence of a technical knowledge, that he should be a master or someone who is well equipped with the technical skills in order to produce something new. Secondly, the power of disposal over the factors of production in form of credit, that he has that all the credit facility also in his hand. That they are the two things that an entrepreneur require in order to produce or invent something new. Then the role of profit is also highlighted in the Schumpeter's theory of development. That is, an entrepreneur or an innovator innovates to earn profit. This profit are conceived as the surplus over cost. That is the difference between the total receipts and outlay, and it is a function of innovation. That means that new innovation is capable of producing profit in the economy. According to Schumpeter, under competitive equilibrium, the price of each product just equals its cost of production and there is no profit. And profit arises due to the dynamic changes that resulting from an innovation. They continue to exist till the innovation becomes general. Then how this circular, how this stationary equilibrium is breaking through a new innovation, that is depicted in this picture. That is, the Schumpeter model starts with a breaking up of the circular flow with an innovation in form of a new product by an entrepreneur for the purpose of earning profit. In order to break the circular flow, the innovating entrepreneur are financed by bank credit expansion, and investment in innovation is risky. They must pay an interest on it. Once the new innovation becomes successful and profitable, other entrepreneurs follow it. Innovation in one field may induce other innovations in related field. The The emergence of, for example, the emergence of motor car industry may in turn stimulate the wave of new investment in the construction of highways, rubber, tire, etc. Analyze begin with the assumptions that the country's economic performance is in reached condition, that is, there are no population growth and no net investment and high level of unemployment. Some entrepreneur committed to reformation and followed by other entrepreneurs until they are in increase in investment. The impact are increasing in society's income and consumption. This phenomenon lead the entrepreneurs to increase the new capital induced investment, and further increasing of investment because of increase in income, production profit also increases. The autonomous investment which determined by long-term development such as new resources found and technology which can create this reformation. Then how the economy further move towards a highly progressed state, that is through a cyclical process. That is, investment is assumed to be financed by the creation of bank credit. It increases when money incomes and prices and helps to create a cumulative expansion throughout the economy. With the increase in purchasing power of the customers, the demand for the product of the old industries increases to the supply, price rises, profit increases, old industries expand by borrowing from the banks, and there is an improvement, that is, it induces a secondary wave of credit and inflation which is superimposed or the primary wave of innovation. After a period of new products started appearing in the market, displacing the old products and enforcing the process of liquidation and readjustment, the demand for old product is decreased. Their price falls. Some are even forced to run into liquidation. As though innovators start repaying bank loans out of profit, the quantity of money is decreased and prices tends to fall. Profit decline, uncertainty, and the impulse for innovation is reduced and depression ended. That means the economy moves from a primary wave, and that is super overpowered by another wave. All these are happening because of the innovative process. That is, the economy reflects a market, just like a market fluctuation. That is, there is a boom, then next again repression, again there is a revival, and again there is an means that starting from a low level to a higher level, that economy moves in a cyclical way. That is the trends of growth in the Schumpeter's model. The economic development, that is a booming period, will be followed by an economic recession. Likewise, that some entrepreneurs who cannot compete with those entrepreneurs who have done reformation will subsequently failed in the business and lost their market and have to close their business. This creation of new products will lead to uncertainty among the entrepreneurs in terms of investment and capital that are needed for business development. Those entrepreneurs who are able to creating the new products and market will lead to economic booming. However, the equilibrium point is higher than the economic recession period. With the new equilibrium, the level of per capita income is higher. According to Schumpeter, the capitalism will have a self-demise. That is, there is a probable end to capitalism, and the process at the end of capitalism that will happen only because of three forces. They are discernible, that they are the beginning of the creeping death of capitalism. They are the decadence of the entrepreneurial function. That is, the entrepreneur, they themselves and their production activity, their entrepreneurial function will deteriorate over the time period. And there is a probable disintegration that happened at that time in the bourgeoisie family, that is the capitalist family, and the destruction of the institutional framework of the capitalist society, that is overruling over class wage people. The tendency towards concentration into big concern weakens and destroys the twin institutions of private property and freedom of contract. As a result of clashing of group capitalism, results crumbling, and there is a gradual movement towards socialism. At the end, capitalism would fade away. According to Schumpeter, the capitalism will have a self-demise. And what are the major criticism against the theory presented by Schumpeter? The entire process of Schumpeter's theory is based on innovator whom he regards as an ideal person, that is criticized by many economists. And there are criticism also leveled against the economic development is a result of a cyclical process. Cyclical changes due to innovation is not correct, that is argued by many. And there is also criticism against Schumpeter's assumptions regarding innovation as the main cause of economic development. And this model is given too much importance to bank credit, that is also criticized by many. And let us discuss about the implication of Schumpeter's analysis upon underdeveloped countries. The applicability of Schumpeter's theory to underdeveloped countries is limited for because of so many reasons. The first reason is that the different socio-economic, because of different socio-economic order, that is Schumpeter's theory corresponds to a particular socio-economic order that existed in Western Europe and America of the 18th and 19th centuries. In that period, some of the prerequisites of growth already existed. And in underdeveloped countries, the socio-economic conditions are altogether different, and the prerequisites for development in form of economic and social overheads are non-existent. And the second important reason is the lack of entrepreneurship. The Schumpeter analysis depends upon the existence of an entrepreneurial class. However, in underdeveloped countries, adequate entrepreneurship is lacking. In such economies, there are low profit expectation and low state of technology, which do not encourage an innovational investment in new plant and equipment. Moreover, the lack of adequate power, transport, skilled personnel, etc. act as a disincentive to entrepreneurial activity. And the third application of Schumpeter's theory in underdeveloped countries are it is not applicable to socialist countries. That is, Schumpeter's analysis is not applicable to the majority of underdeveloped countries which have socialistic leanings. For example, the introduction of social security measure and high progressive income taxes are inimical to development of an entrepreneurial class because they tend to reduce profit, and it is not applicable to even mixed economy. Moreover, the innovator is a private entrepreneur who does not fit in the present day mixed economies. In an underdeveloped country, government is the biggest entrepreneur. The main impetus for development comes from the public and semi-public sectors. Thus, Schumpeter's innovator has a limited role to play in an underdeveloped country. And the fifth reasoning is institutional changes and not innovation that is needed. To start the developmental process and to make it self-sustaining, it is not innovation alone but a combination of several factors like organizational structure, business practices, skill labor, and appropriate values, attitudes, and motivation, which all are required in order to make the economy progress. And assimilation of innovations. According to Henry Wallach, the development process in underdeveloped countries is based not on innovation but on assimilation of existing innovation. For entrepreneurs in underdeveloped countries are not in a position to innovate, rather they adopt innovation taking place in advanced countries. Therefore, the technology may be even adaptive type technology. Then it neglects consumption. The Schumpeter process is production oriented while the development process is consumption oriented. This appraisal is applied in the current trend towards the welfare state in which demand and consumption play a leading role. And this theory even neglects saving. That is one of the arguments that Schumpeter's exclusive emphasis on bank credit obscure the role of real savings in the investment. It also undermines the importance of deficit financing and budgetary savings, public credit, and other physical measures in economic development. And this neglect the external effect. According to Schumpeter, development is a result of change that arising from within the economy. But in underdeveloped countries, changes do not take place from within the economy, rather, they are the outcome of important ideas, technologies, capital, etc. Backward technology, low saving potential, and outmoded social, economic, and political institutions are incapable of leading to development from within in underdeveloped economies. And this neglect the population growth. That is, further, Schumpeter failed to take on into account the impact of the growth of population on the economic development of a country. High growth rate of population tends to lower the growth rate of the developing economy. Then there is unsatisfactory explanation of inflationary forces. In Schumpeter's system, inflationary impulses from an integral part of the process of development, but it involves no secular inflation. The long-term price level remains stable. However, in an underdeveloped economy, the inflationary forces are very powerful. But this model is very well acknowledged in many of the modern theories regarding the role of innovator, inventions, then entrepreneurial function, etc. Schumpeter's theory as a model of evolutionary growth. It's viewed the capitalist system as a dynamic process operating over time. We looked at his theory where the entrepreneur is given pride of place, and R&D and creative destruction are the main engines of growth. Schumpeter was concerned with the evolution of the economy over time rather than with studying the properties of a static economy. He was more interested in studying how wealth was created rather than on analyzing the efficient allocation of resources at a point of time. Schumpeter, as an economist, did not have much use for the applying mathematics to solve the problems of economics, and he did not have great faith in formal modeling, and though that models require restrictive assumptions, he gave a grand narrative type of theory. Schumpeter also weaved in sociological analysis with his economic theorizing. Schumpeter gave the theory of business cycle, which are recurrent ups and downs in the course of capitalistic development. These cyclical movements involve shift over time of period of boom and periodical depression. The study of this require the use of nonlinear dynamical system analysis in mathematics, which was not very developed then, and hence Schumpeter could not use these fruitfully. Schumpeter's theory of development and growth is evolutionary in nature because, for one thing, he postulated that capitalism will eventually evolve into socialism. He also considered innovation to be constantly taking place, and new methods of production and newer variety of good constantly replacing the older ones. Although Schumpeter did not talk of creative destruction where the old is somehow endogenously replaced by the new, it is not necessarily true always. There may be cases where the old is not necessarily replaced by the new. For example, even with the advent of the credit card, checks continue to be used. The coming of mobile phone has not completely rendered landlines obsolete. Schumpeter's vision was historical, just like Karl Marx. He took a long period analysis. He did speak of an equilibrium, but his equilibrium was of a dynamic nature and not the static Marshallian variety. Schumpeter also believed that money has a central role to play in the economic system and not merely a whale. Here he is similar to Keynes and differ from the monetarist, but he was critical of Keynes for not taking an evolutionary view and not considering the basic structural changes in the economy. Let us move on to some of the models that is very much influenced by the ideas of Schumpeter, some new Schumpeterian models. Some models of the latest century, latest 20 years, last 20 years, for example, models fall broadly in the class of endogenous model have an affinity with the Schumpeterian model in giving pride of place to new inventions and products, to the R&D process. They also look at the competitive process where the competition works with the innovation. The two models that we study here by Kuzman and Helpman and by Egoin at Howitt. The Roman model also actually a new Schumpeter in spirit, as that model saw technical change as the mainspring of growth and moreover modeled technical change as an endogenous process. The main point on which these new Schumpeterian models differ from each other lies in the way the new technology is depicted or the technology makes an appearance, whether in new consumer goods or in new process of production. Let us begin with the Grossman-Helpman model. In the Grossman-Helpman model, growth occurs through innovation. But the innovation comes about through an expanding variety of consumer goods. This is combined with and also brought about by an accumulation of knowledge. The way they model consumer good is as follows. They adopt the formulation of product diversity under monopolist competition in 1977 paper by Avinash Dishik and Joseph Stiglitz. Dishik and Stiglitz had formulated the presence of several types of consumer goods by looking at the behavior of the typical consumer.